Welcome to Rich Conversations. We have another fantastic episode. This has been in the works for a while, and I'm so excited to have Alexandra Kladi here, all the way from Athens, Greece. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Rich. Thank you for inviting me.
Why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Well, as you said, I'm Alexandra Kladi. I live in Athens. I was born in Zakynthos, a very beautiful island in Western Greece. You may have seen some pictures of this island because we have a very famous shipwreck. And this photo has traveled all around the world. I'm a singer-songwriter. I love music. Everything I do has to do with music. I teach music, I perform music, I write music. I write books about music. I write children books with children's songs. And everything about my life has to do something with music and creativity.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed your music. When Alexandra was brought up as a possible guest, I went to her Spotify and her album, Supan. How do you? Is that how you? Supan. And I've been listening to it. A number of her songs are like on my top repeat on Spotify. It's like a great vibe. I've been more into this like kind of like loungy, kind of big bandish kind of vibe lately, and it's just like perfect at night. You know, it's just so relaxing. I really enjoy it.
I'm so happy. When you approached me, I thought to myself, how the heck did he find my music in Chicago? I'm not that famous. I was really, really surprised in a positive way, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the reasons I want to have you on too, I didn't mention this, but I'm a big Milwaukee Bucks fan. It's a basketball team in Milwaukee, and our best player, and he's the best player in the league, is Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's from Greece. And let's see, I have his book right here. So I'm curious about learning like all things Greece and learning more about like his background growing up in Greece and just learning more about Greek culture. So when I visit there, I'll be up to speed and ready to go. So I was looking for someone in Athens and I came across you and I'm like, oh, and then her music is awesome. We got to talk.
Okay. I don't know a thing about basketball. I should go. I'm not a fan of sports, but I understand why people like it.
Right. So why don't you, okay, you're from originally, say it again,
Zakynthos.
Zakynthos.
Yes.
Describe what it's like there.
Well, the nature is so beautiful. We have mountains, we have sea all around. It's a small island. The nature is astonishing. I was very lucky to grow up there. I was really, really lucky. We were playing outdoors all the time. I've never been, inside the house while I was growing up. There was no fear of, something bad happening to us when we were young. So we were playing out on the streets all day. We were climbing on the trees. We didn't have, internet or video games, nothing like that. I'm a little bit older than you. I was born in 1981.
Okay.
So the 80s and most of the 90s were very, very different from what we know right now. Yeah. We grew up very differently from what the children grow up now. So I grew up in a poor village. Most people were poor, it was, we didn't know anything else. It was like that. It was, it was natural to us to live like that. We didn't have central heating. We didn't have washing machine. We didn't have all the comfort, we have now.
Yeah.
But from the mid-90s and after that, we started, becoming wealthier. It happened all around Greece. I don't know what happened then exactly. But the country grew. We had, wealth growth. And we started living more comfortable lives. But as a kid, I didn't realize that we were poor because that was the situation we were living in.
Yeah.
And everybody was in the same situation. But it was innocent years and nice years for me.
So what's it like growing up on an island in the Mediterranean Sea?
We always have sun. The summers are beautiful. You have, you're in nature, and that does something to your psychology. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah.
I'm full of nature inside me. It's like I have swallowed all the sun and all the sea and all the trees and all the mountains, and they're with me all the time. I've been living in Athens for the past 22 years. This city is full of cement.
Yeah.
There are no trees, there are no parks, no nature at all. You have to go out of Athens like half an hour, 1 hour to see trees.
Yeah.
But I don't miss it. I don't miss nature. It's always inside me. And I think it's because I grew up in nature.
Yeah. What was it like moving to Athens then?
I really wanted to come here because I was full of dreams that could not happen in the village, in the small town of Zakynthos. I had very, very big dreams. So I studied really hard and I passed the exams and I came to the university here in Athens to study musicology.
Mm-hmm.
In Greece, studies are free. We have public universities.
Okay.
And so it was easy for my family to send me here because we had no tuition to pay. But we had other expenses, I had to rent a house and all the other stuff that comes with it. I was really excited to come here. I wanted it so badly. I scored like the top of my class. I was a really good student. I liked school very much. We didn't have, other activities to do. So school was the one thing that got me out of my little neighborhood,
Yeah.
I loved school. I loved reading. I loved books. I loved learning. We're kind of alike in this,
Yeah, we are. I feel like we're very similar people. And those listening can probably already tell that. So what was the general vibe when you came to Athens? Like how was that different? Was it what you imagined it to be when you dreamed of coming to Athens? Like, what was that like?
Well, I was 17 or 18 years old, and I've always lived, under my father's and my mother's protection, my family's protection. Mm-hmm. And everything was safe in the island. So when I came in Athens alone in a huge city, I was conned by many people. I gave my money everywhere. I saw people on the street, begging for money. And oh my God, he doesn't have to eat. So I gave them my money. I gave them everything.
Yeah.
But years passed by and I said, oh, there are a lot of people who are begging on the streets. I can't give to them all. So
yeah,
that was my first impression of Athens. Miserable people on the streets. And I haven't seen that before. My heart was broken of that. I couldn't believe I saw so many poor people living on the streets. And that was the sad part.
Yeah.
But the most part was excitement. I wanted to discover a new city. I went to the university and I learned so many new things. I thought that I knew some stuff, but when I went to the university, I thought, oh my God, you know nothing at all. And that was really exciting because I met people from different backgrounds. I met people whose parents were, had PhDs and had great jobs. And, my parents didn't finish the school. And it was an eye-opening experience. And so I started learning. I started reading much, much more. And I found my way.
Yeah.
Athens.
Yeah, it
Yes.
sure seems like you have.
Yes.
So in Athens, you've been there for quite a while now. What sights, sounds, and smells stand out to you?
Well, let's start with the smells, because in spring, all Athens has lemon trees by the road, in all streets in Athens, in the inner city, in the downtown, as we say here. So in the spring, when the lemon trees blossom, the smell is, oh my God, you walk down the street and you're like, oh my God, it's a wonderful experience. I love that smell. And I wait for it every year.
Wow.
So sounds. Yes, we have a lot of noise in Athens. I'm very lucky because here in my apartment is really quiet, but in downtown, there is a lot of noise. Cars, honking. We are loud people. We like to honk our cars. We like it very much. We do it all the time. I do it too sometimes. It's very, very noisy. But it's, when I go back to Zakynthos for vacation, I find myself longing for that noise and for
like it's too quiet.
Yes. I love Athens. I miss Athens. When I'm away, I miss it. I want to live here. I love being in this noisy environment with people going here and there. Well, you can smell peace sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, you sure can.
In some parts, in some areas of the town. What else did you ask me? Smells,
the
sounds,
sights.
And sights. Well, sights. The color is gray. Because of the cement.
Okay.
Yes. We have a lot of graffitis, so you have gray and colors. It's mostly, how to say it without being offensive to my beloved city. It's a dirty city.
Yeah.
It's not that clean, but we try. But I don't mind. I love Athens. So the sites are buildings, which are gray. It's a little bit sad, but it has something industrial, that I like industrial. So, but you can have some little oases of green. We have the Parthenon, in Acropolis.
Yeah.
We have the ancient monuments. And so it's a combination of ancient Greece and modern dirty Greece. But people in Athens are in love with their city. They don't want to leave. It's a vibrant city. It never sleeps like New York.
Mm-hmm.
It's not New York, but Athens never sleeps too. Okay. And it's full of life all the times. And I think I'm going to your next question. What do we do here in Athens?
What would you recommend people doing? Or
Well,
what do you guys like to do too?
well, we drink too much. We smoke too much. We eat too much. We like pleasures. We drink too much coffee all the time, all day and all night.
Yeah, I'm right here with you.
We drink coffee 9 o'clock at night. We drink coffee every day, all day.
It sounds like I would fit in very well over there.
We have many, many cafes. Every corner has a cafe, many, many cafes, many restaurants. We have a lot of cuisines. We have the Greek cuisine, but not Greek cuisine is not one cuisine. We have, you understand what I say when I'm saying cuisine? It's
food. Like
food,
the
yes. Okay, it's okay. It's the same word. Sometimes I confuse myself with the English language, but it's okay. I'm Greek. I don't speak that well English, so please forgive me.
You're doing well. And like a lot of people I talk to, English isn't their first language. And it's like, man, this is what I'm working on right now. It's learning Spanish. I have to get better at Spanish.
Okay.
So to me, your English sounds great.
Oh, thank you. You understand me at least.
Very well. Yeah.
So we have many different kitchens, many different foods from all areas of Greece, from Crete to Macedonia to Ionian Islands to Peloponnesus. So we have a mix of different Greek foods, and we also have all the international and the fusions from other countries and other, So we like food very much. We eat a lot, and we smoke.
What's your favorite thing to eat?
It's a recipe from my birth island. It's called avgolemono, which has avgolemono means eggs with lemon. Avgo is eggs, and lemono is from lemon, lemoni. It's a soup with rice and many, many eggs. It's yellow. And it has some meat inside. It might be turkey, or it might be beef, or chicken sometimes. And we eat it on the holidays, on Christmas and on Easter. And I'm going to eat it very, very soon. My father brought me a chicken from the island because we try to eat meat from my island where it's pure. Okay. I don't like animal farming, you don't know where you get your meat.
Sure.
So I try all the products, eggs, honey, meat, and bread and other stuff. They come from Zakynthos in Athens. So
nice.
So avgolemono is it's my best food. And what else? We like to go out and have fun. We like to dance. We are very loud as people. We speak very loudly. We are annoying. We laugh hard. We are lighthearted. We like to tell jokes. We like to, doing pranks to each other.
Yeah.
And we like our free time. We like, sitting on a cafe, having conversations with our friends. I remember sitting on a cafe for 5 or 6 hours talking with my friends. And we like having vacations in Greek islands. But I have to break a myth. We are not lazy. We are very hardworking people. We work many, many hours. Really.
Is that that's the stereotype on Greeks?
Yes. Don't you know that?
I don't know. Maybe it's just like in Europe. Maybe it's like a stereotype within Europe. I don't know.
Yes, it's within Europe. They think that we are lazy because we like our coffee and we like our cafes and our food and our pleasures. And we were the last country in Europe to ban smoking. And when the smoking was banned, inside the cafes and all these side areas, we broke the rule for 5 years. That's another thing we are famous for, breaking the rules.
Breaking rules.
And we don't like rules. When something is, imposed on us, we always say, no, we won't do that. Even if we want to do it, if somebody else tells us to do it, we won't do it.
Yeah, I understand that. That's funny. Okay, so what are like the ancient ruins like?
We have the Parthenon, which is in a pretty good shape, I would say. And we have a lot of museums with the ruins and artifacts from really, really old, like 5,000 years before Christ.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of areas in Athens where you walk and you see the ruins, and it's really peaceful. When I first came here and went to the Acropolis, I loved to study the Greek mythology when I was young. So when I was walking, on the stoned street of Acropolis, I thought, oh my God, Plato was here and Aristotle was here and Socrates was here and all those great philosophers were here. And I was, oh my God, I'm walking on the same street as them. And I couldn't believe it. It's, if you're familiar with the Greek history and the Greek mythology and the Greek philosophy, which I think everybody in the world is familiar with the Greek philosophy.
Yeah.
You get very emotional and you're really proud to be part of this. Okay, your camera just stopped.
We're good. We're good again.
We're good. Okay, so I continue?
Yes.
Are you going to edit this later?
Yes.
Okay. So, yes, you get really emotional when you think that you're part of this civilization of the Greek culture. And we like to be proud of our culture.
Yeah, it seems like something just so cool to like know that everybody in the world has studied like Greek history at a certain point, it feels like. And I'm sure that's like to every day, like look up and you see those buildings. It's got to be pretty awesome, right?
Yes.
Wow. So what's the creative scene like in Athens?
Well, we have a lot of artists. We have many theaters. Now with COVID, everything just stopped. So I'm going to talk about the pre-COVID era, okay?
For sure.
Okay. So before COVID, we used to have many concerts every day in different venues. We have many theaters, art exhibitions, many festivals for video, for dancing, for all the arts. We are a very artistic people, and we have it in our culture. So every day there is something to see, there is something to do, there is something to watch, there is something to listen to. Now, if you ask me if I go to all this stuff, no, I don't have the time. I wish I did, but I don't.
Yeah.
So I choose very carefully what I'm going to see. And because I'm in the circle of artists, I always, have to go see some friend doing something.
Yeah. I experienced that same thing.
Yes.
So then let me think. What sparked your interest in music originally?
I have no idea. It was
No
so long
idea.
ago. Yes, it was so long ago. I remember growing up, I took my grandma's there. She had a stand where I don't know how to explain it. She used that thing. It was a rod, and she used it to make the cloth, because we were making our own clothes back then. I'm
Yeah.
100 years old. So I used to take that rod and use it as a microphone and singing. I was
Yeah.
singing. I was singing all day, every day. So I think it was just in me, the passion to sing and to express myself through music. But what really sparked my interest in learning music was when my father brought home a toy piano
Okay.
with the keys were so little, very, very small keys. And I started playing by ear,
Okay.
and in 5 days time I already played all the Christmas songs that I knew.
Wow.
Yes. So it was natural to me. I thought everyone could do it. And then
Huh.
the music teacher came to my village. She taught music. And when she found me, she told my parents that she's really good. I'm going to do lessons to her for free because I think she must do something with music. She was my first teacher. She was very kind to me. And I think she's one of the reasons that I'm
Mhm.
here now.
Wow. That's pretty interesting to think about. Like, I mean, you're on an island, so it's a little bit more isolated, but the fact that you just start playing and you're playing by ear, you don't need formal training at this point, and you just think it's like everybody can do it. That's like an interesting thing.
Yes. Yes, when later I saw that other people cannot do it, it was very strange to me. I thought to myself, why? Why? It's so easy.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, apparently.
So how many instruments can you play now?
Well, I started with the keyboards,
Okay.
the piano. There's my piano.
Mm-hmm.
And then one summer, a boyfriend of mine
Okay.
played a song on his guitar. And I said, guitar. So I told my father I want a guitar. So he bought me one. I was lucky in that too, because whatever musical instrument I wanted, they bought it for me. So I was lucky. So I bought the guitar. I stayed in my room for like 1 or 2 months that summer.
Okay.
I never left my room.
Wow.
And I learned to play the guitar by myself. So I play the guitar. The only instrument that I'm trained is the piano. All the other instruments I learned by myself. So I play the guitar, the ukulele. Oh, I did some lessons for oboe. So I play some oboe. I play the accordion. I play the mandolin. And a lot of percussion, and
Wow. So when you're teaching yourself, what's your process?
well, my process is, for example, when I took the guitar on my hands, I ask somebody, what are the notes on the strings? And they tell me, E, A, D, G. And I said, oh, so that thing must be a semitone. And I stay by myself and try things. Well, now we have YouTube. So if I want to learn something new, I just watch a tutorial on YouTube. But back then, when I learned all those instruments that I'm saying, there was no YouTube. So I had to improvise and test things with my hands and see what is more comfortable with me, with my hands and my posture. I think I still hold the accordion on the wrong way. I've
Really?
learned the wrong way, and I still play the wrong way, but I don't care as long as I play the things that I want to play, because all these instruments, I don't play in front of people, doing concerts.
Hmm.
I play them in order to record for my music.
Yeah.
So I played 1,000 times, and I have no problem, recording it again and again and again.
Yeah.
The only instrument that I feel comfortable playing in front of an audience, and that I haven't been formally taught, is the guitar, because I play guitar many, many years. So I think I have it at some point.
That's cool. Like, when you're like listening to, when you're playing it by ear, like I guess it's probably hard to describe, but like how do you know like which one is like this note or this note, or like how does that work playing it by ear?
Well, there are many levels of doing that.
Okay.
While I was being formally trained to be a musician in the university and at the conservatory, sorry, I use the French word, the conservatory, the music school.
Yeah.
I went to the university, and at the same time I was studying at the music school, the two different things, but I was really, really trained. As I was, I was learning more about music, it was easier to understand what was going on in the music you were listening to. But I will start from the beginning. When I was young and I wasn't trained formally, I listened to the notes, I sang them, and then I sat on the piano and I was trying different keys to see which fits. So when I got the first note, I said, okay, this is the first note. Mm-hmm. Then I use my relative ear, because there's the perfect pitch and the relative pitch in music. Do you know about these terms at all? Have you ever heard about that?
Not really. I don't think so.
Well, there are two kinds of musicians. There are the musicians who have a perfect pitch and the musicians that have relative pitch. Perfect pitch is an anomaly of the brain, and all us, the rest of musicians who have relative pitch, we hate the ones that have the perfect pitch, because perfect pitch means you hear something and without testing it on an instrument, you know what the note is. Really? So you hear something, you say, oh, it's B flat. Oh, it's E. It's A. You want to strangle them. What is happening there? It's something in their mind. Yes. You're either born with that or not.
And most people are not born with that.
Most people are not born with that, but you can cultivate the perfect pitch, but it's really, really hard. I think you have to start cultivating as earlier as you can from your childhood.
Okay.
I wasn't that lucky, so I trained my relative pitch. Relative pitch means you find the first note and then you compare the musical interval with that first note. And so and then you say, oh, it's going up, how much up? It's going down, how much down the melody goes. And then you find the melody. It may take you, the first time it may take you hours and hours or days and weeks. But as you train, you get better and better and better. And right now, I teach music for over 15 years. And teaching music always makes you a better musician. I am a much better musician now than I was before I started teaching music. So right now I have a pretty good relative pitch, but my knowledge of music harmony makes it very easy for me. When I listen to a song, sometimes I'm in the car listening to the radio and I say to myself, oh, now it's the fourth chord going to the fifth chord, now to the one chord, and it's the fourth minor chord, And I'm talking to myself like a crazy person in the car.
Wow. So when you hear music on the radio or just like a random song, like, are you
Oh my God, it's a disaster. It's a torture.
can you not set that aside of like,
It's a torture. Well, I have two things to say about that.
okay.
On the one hand, you appreciate music more with the knowledge of music. You can appreciate it and you can understand in many levels different things. Some things that not a musician cannot understand. But the same thing that makes you appreciate and feel deeper the music is the same thing that sometimes prevents you from just listening to the goddamn music, just listening,
Yeah.
When I listen to music, I always analyze different levels of the music, the orchestration, the harmony, the melody, the production, the filters that are used. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's hard work. It's hard work listening.
I can imagine. I don't want to do that work. So who are like three musical artists that have influenced you?
Well, I should start with Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach.
Interesting.
Yes, he's my most favorite composer of all times. I think he's the one who taught me music. And
Really?
I think all musicians say so about Bach. Most musicians would say that. I don't think there is another composer in the history of music that has surpassed Bach. I don't think so. He was a great mind. He was a great composer. He did not only taught me composition, but he taught me how to play the piano. Well, it may be that I love Bach so much because I love Baroque music. I love the feeling and the atmosphere, and the Baroque music is, I don't know, it just speaks to my heart. It speaks to me really inside. It moves something in me. So Bach, yes, is the first one. Another composer who had a great impact on me was a Greek composer called Emmanus Hadzidakis. Okay. He's internationally known. He has lived in New York for a few years. He has collaborated with American artists, I think. Yes, he has composed music for movies and for theater. I love his music, and I was greatly influenced by him.
What's his name again?
Emmanus Hadzidakis. If you like my music, you will like his too.
Cool.
Yes.
I'll look him up.
And of course, there are so many. You said three, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for Bjork. The third one will be Bjork.
No, that's the BJORK, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Bjork.
Tell me more about that artist. I don't know as much. I'm familiar with the name for sure, though.
Well, she's from Iceland. She's a very peculiar person. When you see her, the first thought is she's from another planet. She's an alien. Her music is so strange, is so innovative, is so complex. Her voice is something like I've never heard before. She has her own style. If you try to put Björk's music in a category, you will fail. She's her own category. She's her own genre. Björk is Björk, is nothing else.
Wow.
My cat is Bjork. I've named her Bjork. My name is Bjork, yes. When I first listened to Bjork, I was, I think, 13, 14 years old when she released her debut album in the 90s, early 90s, on MTV. And I was like, what is that? What is that? And I was so impressed, my God. And so many years has passed, and I still listen to the same record, and I still feel the same thing. I don't know how to explain that. She has a huge impact. Well, my music does not feel that is influenced by her music, but because I don't write many, electronic music. Her music is electronic, mainly electronic, mostly electronic. Well, I would like to write songs as Björk, but I don't think I can.
Wow.
I wish I could. I wish.
Are there like 3 artists that you're listening to a lot right now? Like, who are 3 artists in your like heavy rotation?
Okay. It's Aurora. Do you know Aurora?
I don't think so. How do you spell it?
Aurora.
Oh, okay.
Aurora, like the lights in the Scandinavian, yeah. She's from Norway. She's really young. I think she's 25 years old. She's really, really talented. She reminds me of Björk. I think she's in the school. She follows the school of Björk.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she has a great voice. Both artists, and Björk and Aurora, write the lyrics, write the music. They perform their songs. That's what I most, respect about them. Yeah. I don't care much for singers.
For what?
Care for singers. Just okay. I don't care for them that much. Okay, you have a nice voice. Okay, I care for the creators.
Okay.
The people who compose the music, the people who write the lyrics. I respect them really, really much. That's what I try to do.
So like people that, or artists that write their own music or compose their own music. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I like, and that's what I listen to. Singer-songwriters. Mm-hmm. I like Billie Eilish very much.
What is it?
Billie Eilish.
Oh, Billie Eilish. Okay.
Yes. And her brother, Phineas.
I haven't listened to her much, besides like 2 songs, I think, but she's huge.
Yes, she has very nice music. I like her music very much. And the production, her brother is a genius in production. And she has a very unique style in singing. She's almost whispering. And I like that very much.
Huh.
Well, let's say the Holland. It's called OHO Land. It comes from Holland. Is a girl from Holland.
Okay.
And I think she's also follows the school of Björk. What can I say? Both 3 girls, and Aurora and Billie Eilish and Holland and Björk, I think they share some common elements in the way they make their music. And that's why I think I like all of them, because they have something in the core. I think they have something the same.
Okay.
I don't know what exactly it is, but something connects them. Maybe I'm the one that connects them. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, there's something in it. There's like something that you notice and you like identify that, and it helps you kind of like understand it in a way.
Yes.
Uh,
Maybe I think it's authenticity, one element that really speaks to me.
okay.
And I find really, really authentic expression on those artists.
I want to go back to Bach a little bit. So, like, I've known, like, as far as like music goes, like I'm surrounded by a lot of creatives. Um, but and I've played the alto saxophone before. I've played acoustic guitar, but I've wanted to like understand. I love the Beatles and I love just like music history and trying to understand it, because like art, it's very much like a, I mean, everything is so intertwined. So it's like I kind of want to learn more about classical music, but I didn't know where to start. And so I had a friend, he plays drums with Neil Francis. He's like another Chicago cat that tours, and they were playing Red Rocks in Colorado. And he was telling me this story. He was on the show and he was like, so we started off and, you know, it's this natural amphitheater in the Rocky Mountains. And he said Neil started off playing a Bach piece because he plays piano and organ and all that type of instrument. And he started off playing a Bach piece and then went into his music and like the place just like erupted. So I'm like, Bach, interesting. So I've been going to record stores and picking up Bach vinyl, and it's quite interesting. Like, so, and then I asked my like musical friends that play in orchestras, and they say Bach is kind of like the godfather of classical music. Is that right?
Yes, he's our father.
So like how elaborate more on that. Like what it kind of is his story and his impact on music.
Well, Bach, you pronounce it Bach, don't you?
Yeah. It's probably
Okay,
like
you say Bach,
Bach.
the deep Bach. So Bach was very, very poor. He had 10 children and he lived in Germany, Lipsia. I don't know how it's called in English, in a small village in Germany, and he worked for the church. So he had to compose a different mass
Yeah.
for every Sunday.
Okay.
And his masses are huge. The duration is like 2 hours. So
Yeah.
he composed every week 2 hours or maybe more music. He was a prolific composer. He wrote non-stop. We have a huge amount of his work still today. And imagine how much of it must have been destroyed or lost. Yeah. Because Bach was forgotten after his death for many years. And maybe 200 years later, Mendelssohn was the one who rediscovered him and made him and put him in the core of musical studies.
So who's Mendelssohn? All I know is seeing that name on like a piano.
Okay, he was a composer from the Romantic period. Okay. Which the Romantic period was in the 18th century, 18th to 19th century, in the 1800s.
Okay.
So Bach lived from 1670 to 1750.
Okay.
Yes, I think he died in 1750. Yes, that's when he died. Before Bach, there was the Renaissance era in music. That's how we call it, the Renaissance era. The music then was very different from the music that we now know. The music we play, the music we listen to. It was the how was it called in English? okay, I forgot the word, but it doesn't matter. The music was really, really different. The rules were really different. The scales that they used were really different. So when Bach came into the picture and he introduced us to the Baroque area, he's the one that formulated this area. What did he do? He changed the way we look at music. Before him, we saw parallel melodies moving without having really any connection with each other. So we had phonetic music, vocal music with different layers of voices doing their own thing. How's it called? A distichs. I'm searching for the English word, but I can't find it. So Bach imagined the music in a different way. He's the one who created the chords. But at the same time, the musical instruments were refined. So we have the well-tempered clavier. The well-tempered clavier is the piano as we know today. And these little tweaks in the musical instruments at that time of that period changed the perception of the music. So Bach was in the right time, at the right place, in the right time at the right place, sorry. And he introduced us to the homophonic music, which used chords as the basis. And we have the melody above and the harmony below. Before that, the concept of music was very, very different. Oh my God, if I could speak Greek now, I would say it's so much nicer, but I'm constrained by my poor English, so I'm sorry. If I confused your audience, I'm sorry, guys and girls. So he changed the paradigm. And he introduced us to a very different era. And from Baroque and on, we use the same material. Whatever Bach said, we've never been much farther than this since then.
Wow.
He changed the language, and we all speak the same language right now. In 2022, we speak the language of Bach. There were some composers in the early 20th century who tried to change that, but the tonality, but it stayed in the close circles of, of artists. It didn't go further to the public, It's very strange and difficult music. So we stayed in the traditional tonal music that we love. And the first one who created the language for that music is Bach. So that's why he's our godfather.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that language changing in the future the way like Bach did for us? Do you think like in the future someone changes it again?
That's the same question that those composers in the early 20th century did. That's the same question. They said, we have a material, the tonal material, the tonal music, and we've done everything we could with that. There's nothing else to say with this language. We've said it all. So what else can we say? So they created another system, the 12-tone system, as they called it. It created a really interesting language. Those kind of music you listen to horror films. It's those spooky, the music you cannot really understand what's going on with apparently no structure, but it has structure, but you won't understand it if you're not familiar with it. And then later in the 1950s, when this language stayed in the closed circles of, film scoring and avant-garde music, in music concert halls, then the electronic sound came. So we had, this is the other revolution that happened in music with the artificial sounds, the electronic music, and all these new colors, all these new sounds that have never been heard before and have never been imagined before. That was a huge, push to music to move forward. Now, well, art always finds ways to be richer and to enrich itself. That's the verb. Yes, I found it at last. So I think something always happens. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
What are some of the names of those people in the 20th century that were reimagining asking that question?
The founder of this movement, the movement of atonality, is Arnold Schamberg. It's from Vienna, so it's Austrian name, Arnold Schamberg, and his two students, Anton Webern and Alban Berg.
Interesting.
They founded the second school of Vienna. The first school of Vienna was the classical music, Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, can you summarize like Mozart and Beethoven, like with their impact on music? If you can summarize that quickly.
Really quickly, okay, I will try. Well, we have the Baroque area with Bach.
Okay.
And later, when Bach dies, his two sons continue his music, but they elaborate it a little bit. And this is the Rococo area, or the pre-classical era.
Okay.
And then we have Haydn. The first of the classicals is Haydn. What he did was he took the language of Bach and made it more prominent, and he took some musical structures from the Baroque era, like the sonata form, for example, and he made it the sonata form that we know it today, the classical sonata form, which was the structure in which all the classical composers wrote their music.
Okay.
It's like you say, now I write a song, it has verse 1, chorus, bridge, verse 2, chorus, like that. But it was the sonata form, and all the symphonies were written in that form. So the classical musicians, what did they do? They created structures in which you can compose a huge piece of music, huge in time, in duration. I mean, and for huge orchestras, Beethoven had a very huge orchestra compared to the Baroque era. But of course, Greek. Of course, the huge orchestras came later in the Romantic era. So the classicals took the sentimentality of the Baroque era, and that's why it's called classical music, and put the emotion and the target, the goal of music in the classical ideals, the beauty of the ancient Greece classical period, the beauty that is above and beyond you, and we all agree that this is beautiful and nice. So it's not something that is subjective, that is inside you, like the Romantic era, for example.
Okay.
It's something that's outside of you and is objectively true, objectively beautiful, and that's something that you attain to, you want to reach for. That's what the classical era represents. And that's what Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven did. Beethoven was with the one foot on the classical era and with the other foot on the romantic era. He's the one who introduced, he's the changing point, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So then getting to your music a little bit, I really enjoy this album. Say it's all in Greek. I don't understand anything that you say in it, but
Okay.
I like the sound and the vibe. A lot of times how I listen to music, it's about the sound rather than the lyrics in a way. But what was your creative process like when you were creating that album? And I'm talking about Sunpan. Sampuan. Yeah.
Okay. You can call it shampoo. Okay.
Shampoo.
It means shampoo.
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 Yeah.
Shampoo. Well, it took me almost 6 years to finish that album. Yes. Not because it was difficult, but because it required a lot of, it had a lot of expenses, you know, and I had to work for a period of time to raise the money and then to put it in the studio. And then I had to work again to raise the money to put it in the studio. So it's, it costs a lot of money to do that thing. So I had to wait for that to raise the money. But also, I worked 2 or 3 different jobs at the time, so I didn't have the time, you know, to concentrate only on the album, on the creation of the album. If I did that, I think that it would take me 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
But I didn't have that luxury. I had to work different jobs at the same time. But it's okay. I don't regret it because I had, you know, I collected different experiences all that period. So how
do you keep one idea in your head for that long and have it like cohesive still in a way?
Well, let me tell you something. When I released the album, I didn't want to hear my songs anymore. I didn't want to listen to them because it was the Alexandra of the past. It wasn't me anymore. It was the Alexandra of the 2010, of the 2011, of the 2013. And I was another person by the time the album was released. It was in 2017. And I was a different person by then. So the album talks about my failed relationships.
Okay.
It talks about love. It talks about men and women. It talks about how I see life. There is a humoristic element in the lyrics. I always like to joke about myself. I like sarcasm very much. So the lyrics are a little bit sarcastic, a little bit humoristic, but deep down, after analyzing them with a friend of mine, because as a creator, I don't go too deep into my own stuff because it just come. They just come. I don't know where they come from. They just pop up in my head.
Are you talking like lyrics or like
everything?
Music,
lyrics, music, instrumentation, everything. Just comes. So after discussing my lyrics and my music with my collaborators, I realized that there were some really huge truths in them for me and for other people too, not only for me. And sometimes you have to dig a little bit deeper, you know, inside the lyrics to find the thing that is true for all of us. And that was a really nice surprise for me to see that there was there were many levels of interpretation. So the creative process was me sitting alone on my piano or with my guitar or with a notepad and a pen, having a thought and then saying to myself, oh, that could be a song. Let's write it down. Or no, that's a nice thought. I always write on my journal my thoughts and I keep a journal. So many of my songs come from that journal. So I write just maybe a title or a word or a feeling or a situation or someone that pissed me off and I'm going to write a song about him and I'm going to make him pay. There are a lot of reasons to write a song. So I write the main feeling, the main thing that I want to write about. And then I write the lyrics and the music at the same time. I always do it at the same time. I've never written only the lyrics or only the music. I always combine the work. So I do it at the same time. And sometimes lyrics guide the music, and sometimes music guide the lyrics. And because I love mathematics, and I love structure, and I think I have it inside me, it's built in. When I write, the structure comes by itself. I don't plan for it. It just comes out. It's just the way I think.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times, when the issue, the matter, or the topic inside me has grown and it's ready to get out, I write the song in 5 minutes, music and lyrics together.
Really?
5, 10 minutes, half an hour, yes, and it's done.
Huh.
And then the really creative process begins. That's when I start enjoying instrumentation, the studio time. It's, oh my God, it's the best time ever. I don't enjoy that much writing the lyrics and the music.
Okay.
I enjoy fantasizing and imagining what instrument should I put here, and what notes should that instrument play, and what should I do with the production, what vocals should I use. And then I record a guide on the computer with my voice and the piano, the main guide, a very plain structure. And then I start building from that point on. And this process is, oh my God. I cry sometimes because I can't stand the emotions that I have inside me when I see my imagination becoming reality. And I cry, I just cry with, it's so emotional, it's so beautiful,
Yeah. Well, from experience, I can listen and hear it. Is there like a memorable performance you've had that stands out to you that you've done or had?
I would have to say it was a performance in which I used mostly electronic equipment. It was a dream of mine to do that, but I was always afraid to do that because, technology is a bitch. Technology is a bitch. I love technology, but I'm also afraid of it. It's strange, and I use it all the time. But, I feel more comfortable with physical musical instruments, the guitar, my piano, I know them, I know what they can do, because the prospects of electronic instruments are so many that you don't know what to choose, that cripples me. That cripples me. It can do that, and it can do that, and it can do that, and I can do that.
Where does it end? Yeah.
And I cannot choose, and I won't do anything. I'll take my guitar and play a song like that.
Yeah.
So the most memorable performance was before 1 year, I think 6 months before the first lockdown, or a year before, I'm not sure, where I used only electronic equipment. And it was, oh my God, it was great. It was great because I produced the sound that I had in my mind for a very long time and I was afraid to do. And it was great. Yes.
What was the space like that you performed in?
What? Sorry?
What was the space like that you performed in?
Well, it was an old theater with the red curtains.
Yeah.
And stage so graphic and so oldie. This venue is called Faust.
Okay.
And the name of the project of the concert was Renaissance Girl.
Renaissance Girl.
Yes.
Interesting.
Because I consider myself a Renaissance, you know the term Renaissance man.
Yeah.
The one who does everything, nothing at all at the same time.
Dive into that a little bit more. Like, I feel like as far as creativity goes, we both kind of are similar in this way where we're lifelong learners and we want to learn like so many other things. What do you think the value of being a lifelong learner is?
Oh my God. There's no value in not being a lifelong learner. I cannot see another way of living. It's the utmost value. It's that value with T capital, with V capital. I don't know what else there is to do in your life apart from learning. I don't know. This is the only way for me. I could not imagine myself. Imagine saying to yourself, I'm good at this. I cannot get better. There's nothing better than this. So I'm perfect. No, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
You know nothing. And if you say that you know something or you know everything, then you're a fool.
Yeah, and you don't get better.
I don't, when I see writings of me or from my previous lives, because I've lived many lives.
Yeah.
I always think, oh, you were so stupid then. Oh, you were so stupid then. And in a few years from now, I'm going to watch this conversation and I'm going to say, oh, you were so stupid then.
You just have learned more. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, one question I love to ask people is, what are you curious about recently?
Oh, so many things. I think I'm curious about everything. Not for sports, though.
Yeah, we covered that earlier.
Well, this time I'm always watching tutorials on YouTube on how to. I'm always like, how to. I've learned 2 or 3 new software programs.
Okay.
The InDesign for designing stuff and books and covers and posters and, for my YouTube channel, I need it. I'm trying to learn Photoshop, which is very difficult for me. It seems that I will never learn it, but I know to do just some stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious about editing. I love montage. I love editing, video editing. This is my new passion.
Video editing.
Yeah, video editing. This is my new love.
Interesting. What program do you use for that?
Premiere Pro.
Premiere. So you're like the Adobe Suite gal.
Yeah, Adobe. Yeah.
Do you use Illustrator at all?
No.
I'm surprised. Like between Photoshop and Illustrator, I use Illustrator a lot more. It's simpler. I get it depends what you want to do with a photo or like flyers or yeah. Interesting. Oh, another question I had for you is you have like a certain aesthetic. Do you have any like artistic influences that have influenced like the visual art in a way?
Not really. No. I think I have an eye for it, as you
Yeah.
say. I have an eye for it. I have my very best friend is a graphic designer, and she
Okay.
always said, "You have it, you have it." I don't know where it comes from, but I like the visual. As you can see, I like the framing things
Yeah.
and putting in the right place. And I don't know if I'm good at that, but I have opinions about
Yeah.
aesthetic and how to present myself and what to wear and what colors to use in my posters and my flyers.
Yeah.
I know what I like and I know what I don't like.
That's such good advice for just like people in life. Is like it's one thing to know what you like, but you also should understand what you don't like. And
Mm.
like don't even just avoid all of that, in my opinion. I don't know.
And it's important to find people to understand you so that you can work together. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the same aesthetic, it's very, very difficult to work with somebody.
Interesting. I see,
Yeah.
I see that. Now, when you say like work with them, you're saying like creatively, say in
Great.
a music
Yes. Oh,
video or
yes. Yes, of
writing a
course.
book or things like that.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. Well, wrapping up here, I have one last question. And what are you excited about for the next 2 years?
Oh my gosh, there are too many. I'm very excited about everything. Well, I'm excited about my new video series on YouTube, which is called Music with Alexandra. I've been preparing it for the past few months, and it's a series of big videos in which I explain music theory, but it's in Greek.
Yeah.
I'm so
I know.
sorry.
I tried watching them and I'm like, oh, I don't understand this.
And I say it so beautifully there. Yes. So I thought of doing it in English, but then I said to myself, you won't be expressing yourself so freely in English. So I decided to do it in Greek, but I also decided to do it in Greek because there are a lot of such videos on YouTube in the English language, and there is
Yeah.
not many, and none like mine in Greek.
Yeah.
So I said I'm gonna do it in Greek, and it's going very nicely until now. And I enjoy doing it because I take a different topic every time from music theory, and I analyze it, I explain it, I create, the graphics for the videos. It's very, very creative, and it's another way for me to communicate with people. That's one thing that I'm very, very excited about. And the other thing that I'm excited about is living for the first time away from Athens. For the past 22 years, I'm in Athens, and for the first time, I had to leave Athens and go to Rhodes. It's an island the southeast of Greece, near Turkey. It's far, far, far away from Athens, and I have to stay there for 2 years. And I had to go there. I said I had to go there. I didn't choose to go there because of my work. I teach music in public schools, and because I got tenured this year, yay! One condition to get tenure is to go to teach away from your home for 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
So this experience is really strange because I was very comfortable in my bubble here in Athens, my home, my
Hmm.
stuff, my studio, my musical instruments, my friends, everything that I do. So it was very difficult for me. For the first 2 months, I was crying all day. But
Really?
then, yes, from the third month and on, one day I said to myself, okay, Alexandra, now you're here. You're here. You're going to stand with both your feet here, and you're going to make it work. And since the day I said these words to myself, believe me, Rich, only good things happen to me. And it's so strange. When you resist, nothing happens. When you go with the flow, no, it's a cliche, but it's working. When
Yeah.
you go with the flow, everything goes well. But going with the flow, it's not so easy because you say, yes, I'm a cool person, I can go with the flow, but you really aren't.
Mm.
It's a psychological decision. It's a deep decision, and it's not always apparent that you do it, that you take this decision.
Huh.
So I think I successfully made that decision because everything is great since then. I'm very happy. I come back, and if I go back and forth in Athens and Rhodes and Zakynthos. So I'm a traveling girl now.
Yeah, that's awesome. A new adventure, going with the flow. Well, this has
Yes.
been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been so great.
Thank you so much, Rich. Let's keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you.